I didn't really think that the existing Nissan Qashqai needed a facelift, but here it is. I obviously don't make those decisions, do I? This updated version has seen some improved technology across the range, but the prices haven't seen big jumps, which is a big plus for consumers looking for a small SUV with plenty of style. I'll run you through it in this review, tell you about the interior, the ownership promise, which is now better than ever, and plenty of other things to consider, including the best alternatives. So please stick around. If you haven't already, subscribe and ring that bell. It helps a lot. And let's get to it. The Nissan Qashqai still has plenty of different options available to choose from in the lineup, and now there's a sweet deal when it comes to the ownership with a conditional 10-year warranty on offer as well, but that applies to earlier versions if you bought one and serviced it on time as well. So just wait for the details in the ownership section coming up in a few sections time. But if you're interested in the lineup, let's start at the bottom. The ST grade, it has an introductory offer right now, $2,000 off if you order before 30th of April 2025. So if you're ready to go ahead and buy this car, it could be a really good choice because that value equation is great and it gets new stuff inside, like a 12.3-inch touchscreen media system, which is bigger and better than the last one. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, comes standard with LED lights. It gets cloth trim and 17-inch alloy wheels that make it feel a little bit base, but it does have plenty of spec for the money, and all the active safety tech is standard across all grades as well. So it's yeah, looking pretty good at that base grade. The next level up is the STL, and it adds a few extra features like 18-inch alloy wheels. It costs a couple of grand more, but again, it's available as part of the introductory offer for $1,000 off. And it really does seem to be a real sweet spot in the range, with things like a wireless charger, satellite navigation, and a surround view camera as standard as well. You get all of that and more if you choose the TI grade, which is this one here. It steps up to a 19-inch wheel package. It looks a little different from the outside. You can get it with an optional black roof if you want, and there's fake leather trim on the inside, memory settings for the driver's seat, an auto dimming rear vision mirror, and a 12.3-inch driver info screen. And at the very top of the range is the TIL flagship. It comes with 20-inch wheels, real leather interior trim, a panoramic glass roof, and a few extras that make it feel and look a bit more plush. But it's getting up there when it comes to the cost, and in fact there are two models above it in terms of the cost, and they both run a different powertrain, the e-Power hybrid-like system, which I've done a different review of. If you want to watch it, there's a link in the description, you'll be able to check it out. And let's talk about some alternatives to this car, because there are some really, really good small SUVs out there. So you're thinking, I want a stylish small SUV and I want it to be very well equipped. Well, you should go and have a look at the Volkswagen T-Roc. I think it's a fantastic choice if you are looking for exactly that. It's comfortable, it's easy to drive, it's got a lovely engine in the base grades, and even better if you spend a bit more. And if you spend as much as you can, you'll get into the T-Roc R, which is a performance hero model, and it's really, really good. But there's no hybrid models available. It doesn't really matter. The fuel consumption is so good on those turbo models, it probably is going to be good enough for you. And if that doesn't float your boat, well, maybe go and have a look at the Toyota Corolla Cross. It is a fantastic choice because it's super efficient, super practical, super comfortable, very easy to drive, and lovable as well. It's a very, very nice little SUV. Feels bigger in terms of the practicality in some ways compared to the rivals, but the Corolla Cross is just a walk-up start if you're considering a small SUV, in my opinion. And if it's the 10-year warranty that is really getting you through the door for a Qashqai, maybe go and check out the MG ZS Hybrid, and there's now a base model petrol ZS as well. It's really compelling value for money, that car. 10-year, 250,000K warranty, which is not conditional on you servicing it with MG, and it's got great packaging, great style, plenty of tech and spec, and it looks great on the inside and outside too. Which one of those would you pick? Let me know in the comments. The Qashqai is one of those sweet spot SUVs in terms of its size, just around 4.4 meters long. You'll see all the dimensions on your screen now, and it's really practically sized for city drivers, but also those who live in the country. It's a nice design. It's really, really stylish, and look, I don't really think that it needed a facelift. The existing one was good looking in my opinion. This one is still very, very good looking. It's got some really great features as well. It's It's got keyless entry and push button start, so you can walk up to the car with the key in your pocket. It will unlock the doors for you, and when you walk away, it will lock them for you. Very, very convenient technology. And speaking of convenience, just have a look at how wide these back doors open. That is 85 degrees, people. And if you have kids, you'll know that that will make a difference to your life, so long as they don't slam them into the car next to you at the car park. Now, at the rear, you can tell me what you think about these tail lights. I don't like them personally. They look better when the lights are on, but even so, I reckon they maybe are a little bit too 2000s retro in my mind. Now let's have a look in the boot here, because there's some considerations. This one, the TI grade, doesn't get the electric boot. You only get that in the TIL, and there's some considerations when it comes to the boot space as well. You'll see some figures popping up on your screen now for the different versions and the boot capacity available. There is obviously a big step in the back of this car when it comes to the boot space, which is not ideal, but what is ideal is that all versions come with a space saver spare wheel. Yes, with a Linglong tyre. At least you've got a spare. You've got some great features in the back, including these shopping bag hooks, a 12-volt port, a light, and yes, more shopping bag hooks and another light on that side. Little storage caddies on the sides of the boot too, with elasticated straps so you can tie your milk in place. So practical, yep. Let's check out the interior though, see what it's like. Righto, so this is your point of view perspective of the updated Nissan Qashqai, and this is the TI grade, so it gets the 12.3 inch digital instrument cluster, and that is a nice improvement compared to the entry-level versions, which still have a 7-inch digital screen as part of the cluster with a digital speedo, which is good, but this one just offers you a better view and a bit more configurability to that screen as well. I think that this is a very nice touch, and you also get this 12.3 inch touchscreen media system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly, and that's available across all grades in the lineup. As you can see, it's also got sat-nav built in. There's multiple different menus and adjustments that you can go through on this screen. I'm not going to do a deep dive because it's pretty simple. Really, it doesn't require too much thought, and really it's a good system to get your head around. You don't have to learn multiple ways of interacting with the car. It's just plug and play or unplug and play, because you can use wireless Apple CarPlay. As I said, I don't have it connected right now, obviously, but yes, that system is very simple to get your head around, and you will like it, in my opinion. Now, you'll also like the fact that you've got this panel of controls down here, so you can have a look at your surround view camera view there. Yep, pretty good. And then you've also got your different views with that camera system if you want to see the wide view, rear angle, or whatever. You've got some buttons there and a volume dial, and down below, more buttons and dials, which I really like. You've got your fan speed adjuster is a button setup. You've got your temperature controls with dual zone, which is great. And in this grade, you're also getting the heated seats, which I don't need today because it's already very hot outside. And down below, you'll see some great features like a wireless phone charger. There's a little light there that tells you when it's charging. You've got a 12-volt port. Your starter button for the car is there. Electronic park brake, and a pretty strange looking little shifter, but you get used to that. Drive mode controller, that all looks okay, maybe a little bit plain, but you've got cup holders behind there and a multi-tiered setup for the center console bin, if I can get it to work. There you go. And you've also got bottle holders in the doors, a decent sized glove box too. So all of that seems pretty good. A couple of misfit sort of panel-y bits, which maybe aren't as good. But I do like this brown finish. I didn't like it on the previous X-Trail, I think it was, but the brown finish does actually marry up nicely with the green exterior paint of this car. And this particular car, as I said, is the TI, so it gets the nicer looking seats. They are a fake leather trim, but at least they've got some pretty nice design to them. The passenger seat though is manual, the driver's seat is electric, and it's pretty comfortable, I gotta say. Now above, you've got your illuminated vanity mirrors as you'd expect. There's an auto dimming rear view mirror in this grade, and you've got sunglasses holder. Up here, your light controls, no SOS button because this car doesn't have that connected call technology, but you do get a light headliner, I like that, and nice grab handles up there as well. So all up front, all pretty good. Let's check out the back seat, see what it's like. This seat is set for my driving position at 182 centimeters or 6 foot, and you can see my knees are almost touching the seat head. That's not too bad. Good foot wiggle room though. My big clobbers fitting under there okay. And here, headroom, yeah, pretty good as well. Better than in the versions with the sunroof, which is a plus if you do have tall teens or you're going to use it for Uber or whatever. That is good to see. Grab handles up here, little touch sensitive lights as well. Like all of that. And I also like the door pockets, which are a decent size. You've got map pockets as well. Down here, you'll find that you've got directional air vents, a couple of USB-C ports for charging up, and the back seat, of course, has the requisite ISOFIX points in the window seats, 3 top tethers, a flip-down armrest with these sort of shallow cup holders. Just be mindful they aren't the deepest. But I think that generally the back seat experience in here is very good. Nice for families, definitely. All of the internal combustion engine versions of the Qashqai come with a 1.3 litre turbo petrol engine in Australia. You'll see the outputs for it on your screen now. They are class competitive, and it runs a CVT automatic transmission with power sent to the front wheels. It does have decent towing capacity. You'll see the numbers on your screen now, 750 kilos unbraked and 1500 kilos braked. So that's competitive with some of the other small SUVs out there, but we don't get any of the mild hybrid models that are available in other parts of the world. But as I said, there's an e-Power version, which you can check out the review of by hitting the link in the description. All right, so this is a carryover powertrain, 1.3 litre turbo and CVT automatic, and it can have some issues with lag. So let's see what it's like. Actually, that's pretty good, pretty good. I have noticed though in some sort of roll-on acceleration moments, so if you're creeping in traffic or something like that, you might find that it can just have a bit of lag, and that sort of feels like a miscommunication between the engine and the transmission. They're just trying to figure out what needs to happen next. And it is a CVT automatic, so it's different to other automatic gearboxes, and it just will take some getting used to. If you haven't lived with a CVT before, you might not love it, and if you have, you might not love it either. But that's just the reality of CVTs. At least this one has like fake stepped shifts, which make it feel a bit more conventional, and that is good in my opinion. It's not a bad transmission in my mind. It seems pretty good in most situations. It's just, you need to be mindful of the potential for a little bit of lag here and there. But I gotta say, this turbo engine is pretty thrusty. It has a good amount of urge, and I think that for most people's needs, if you're doing country driving like I'm doing today, or city stuff, start, stop, that sort of thing, it's gonna have enough pulling power for your requirements. We had a couple of people on board yesterday and some luggage, and it was perfectly fine. So a small family, you're not gonna feel like you're running out of grunt. For me, the big consideration with this car though is more to do with the ride comfort. And if you're the sort of person who doesn't really care whether a car feels a little bit lumpy and bumpy over surfaces, you'll be fine with this. But in my mind, this version, which is running the 19-inch alloy wheels and the low profile tires, can feel more of the surface than you might be comfortable with in some situations. It's just a bit of a firmer ride and a bit less cushy than some of the other cars that you could be considering, including the Qashqai e-Power, which feels a bit more settled. It weighs about 200 kilos more, so maybe that's why. But this is not perfect, but I wouldn't say it's terrible in terms of the ride. It can just feel at times that it can be a bit perplexed by like potholes. So if you hit a bump in a corner, the whole body can sort of do a bit of a wobble. So it's just something you need to be mindful of. And I think the lower grade versions with the different wheels and higher profile tires might be a better bet if you are sensitive to that sort of thing. Also, the steering is something you will need to get used to. It's maybe a little bit over assisted, so it makes it feel like even the slightest movement of the wheel, you will feel that the car is going to go with you. Maybe too direct, in my opinion, for a car like this, because you don't really get any chance to maybe just do slight movements without having too much action at the front axle. It's just something that is different to other cars, and if you haven't driven other cars, you maybe won't care, but I do, because I've driven lots of other cars, and I don't think this is a bad steering setup. I just think that there are other SUVs in this segment with more naturally progressive steering. It's not a big deal, honestly. You can do roundabouts, you can do speed humps, you can do all sorts of stuff easily with this car. It's made for city driving and it's as comfortable in town as it is on the open road. So in that regard, there's lots of great things about this Nissan Qashqai, but let's talk about the fuel consumption because that's another consideration here. There are a couple of different numbers you need to know when it comes to the Qashqai lineup. There's the entry-level ST and STL. They have slightly higher fuel consumption numbers than the TI and TIL, which you'll see the figures for on your screen now. And you also need to keep in mind that this car is recommended to run on 95 RON premium unleaded, but it can run on 91 if you need to fill up with that for whatever reason. It's got a 55 litre fuel tank capacity across the petrol range, and it does have a pretty decent real world fuel consumption reality. So on screen, you'll see what I've seen across a mix of different driving scenarios, maybe not necessarily exactly what I would do if I was driving this car for a normal test at home. That was that bump I was telling you about. But you'll see decent numbers. It's not hybrid-like, but hey, nor's the Qashqai e-Power, spoiler alert. The Nissan Qashqai still has a 5-star ANCAP safety rating from a couple of years ago, and it's got all the standard spec and tech across the range that you would expect. Things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection, there's adaptive cruise control, there's lane keeping assistance, there's blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. On the base grade, you get a reversing camera and rear sensors. If you step up, you get front sensors and a surround view camera, and that really does make a difference to parking this car, although it is still pretty easy to park. And when it comes to airbags, there are 7 included. You get dual front side, a front center airbag to prevent head clashes in the event of a side impact, and you've also got curtain coverage for both rows of seats. Nissan Australia now offers a 10-year, 300,000 kilometre conditional warranty. Now the conditional is the important part of that sentence because it requires you to service your vehicle with Nissan dealerships in order to achieve that maximum warranty period. If you don't, you still get a 5-year warranty. And if you do, well, there's 5 years of flat price servicing for the Qashqai, $399 per visit for the first 5 services, which is pretty good. And it's going to save you about $1,000 compared to the previous version. And there's also roadside assistance included if you service with Nissan. So up to 10 years of roadside assist included. That seems pretty promising, doesn't it? And the brand also offers guaranteed future value programs, so you can set the resale value of your car ahead of time by financing through the brand's financial services arm. All of that makes this a pretty compelling choice when it comes to the ownership stuff. The new Qashqai, yep, it's compelling. It looks fantastic. It's got better tech and spec than before, and that 10-year warranty could be a game changer in your consideration set. But tell me what you think about it in the comments section below. Is this going to be the right car for you? I'd love to know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.